Everybody, welcome to Virtual Bourbon. My name is Steve Akley. I'm going to be joined today by Adam Stumpf, and we're going to be talking about some of, at least my favorite of his picks. I don't know, these are ones that really stood out to me when I tasted them. I thought these are really a good portfolio of this guy's work, and I wanted to profile them in this particular event. So, Adam, how you doing, man?
I'm doing lovely. How are you, Steve?
Doing good, doing good. So we're going to be talking about four fun ones today, correct?
Yes, sir. These are four good ones for sure.
So before we get started here, and I just want to know what order that you'd like to go in. Now, I've put them in proof order, but I don't know if that's the order that you'd like to follow. So the proof order would be 174, Bananas Foster, Cherry Coke, and then the pre-prohibition rye. Is that the order best to drink those in, or would you like to mix those around at all?
I think the first two are right. I'm up in the air on the second two. Let's do it in that order. I like that order.
That order. Okay, so that's the order we're going to go, folks. It'll be Stumpy's barrel 174, as you see the labels that I hand wrote there, the Bananas Foster, the Cherry Coke, and then finally the pre-prohibition rye. That'll be the order that we go. Why don't we go ahead and pour the first one? We're going to talk a little bit about each of these, but it's always good to kind of get them going. So we'll pour 174 right now as we sit here and talk a little bit about what this is.
Hold on, you gotta check this out, Steve. I've got a fresh 174 here. Just broke the seal. We're gonna need a cork pop on it.
Ooh, pretty good, buddy. Pretty good. That would put you right in the mix on the shows. Better than you normally do on the show. So, right?
What's that? Sorry.
I said that's better than you normally do on the shows, right?
Oh yeah, I choke under pressure every time.
Yeah. So tell us, about this one. Again, this is just a normal, single barrel that you sent out to stores. I happened to be there the day that you sent it out. You said, hey, this is the latest one. I tried it. I was like, man, this to me tastes like a tangerine bomb. So it's nothing special, nothing that you did. It's just normal everyday business for Stumpy's, right?
Yeah, it is. I'm laughing at the damn chat over there. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is it is the everyday Old Monroe, and at that point in time, and I mean really from the beginning of starting that particular label, all the way up until this last particular batch, we'd go through the rick house. We'd taste a handful of barrels whenever we saw our inventory in-house starting to get low, and whichever barrel we happened to like the best that day, that's the one that got bottled. So generally it was a kind of somewhat decision by committee. So I was back there, generally then like Christian, our distiller, and my little brother Andrew. And whenever you see like all the heads nodding, like that's generally a good sign. And that was definitely the case with this one. Nothing too crazy about it. This was a 4-grain, was in a 30-gallon Missouri white oak barrel, and did its thing. It lived its life. I mean, for those of you that have been to the distillery, you've seen, when we had palletized barrels. So it was shoved back in that mix for a while, and then ended up in a really cool spot, I think, in the rick house. That's going to end up being kind of a honey hole. So for those of you that have been recently, like we've got the steam boiler there, and then we've got the ricking kind of behind the steam boiler. And this was on the top row next to the steam boiler. So it is, this barrel and all of its comrades there have gotten a lot of temperature fluctuation there. And the other cool thing about that part of the rick house, it's in the southwest most rick, so it gets the most sunshine on the tin right around it as well. So cool spot, and just kind of happened to be one of those things. We tasted it and said, this is going to be the one. And funny, when we were back there tasting it, we really didn't get as much of the citrus thing as we did after we proofed it down to 90.
Mm-hmm.
We'll taste all of them at barrel proof, and then kind of add a little bit of water to them, and then add a ton of water to them and take them all the way down to like 20 proof. But that citrus note really shined kind of right in that 90 range where we're bottled.
Yeah. So we created a little bit of a buying thing here in St. Louis. I know with our group, everybody was out searching for 174 when it came out because you have no idea where it's hitting or anything like that. And of course, we chat amongst ourselves and we would tell that. And I heard that that Total Wine in Brentwood got a couple bottles. So I was out of town, but I sent the warden up there to buy it. And she bought out what they had. And Scott was working and he's like, "What are you doing?" And because she was looking through the bottles and pulling the particular ones, the 174. And he says, "What are you doing?" And she says, "Well, this 174 is really popular." So he drives out to, when he gets off, to Chesterfield, buys their bottles. And of course, there was more that would come in. So Scott loved it. And he had a customer come in. There was a little old lady, is how he described her, came in and said she was really wanting to try a local whiskey. What is suggest? And he told her to try this 174. She loved it. She started coming in and buying it. Every week she would buy a different a bottle. And then finally she came in one time and says, "I can't find any 174." And they're like, "It's out." And she's like, "Well, when's he going to make some more of that?" Like, well, that's not how it works, unfortunately.
That's not the way this one works. No.
Yeah. So, but she was apparently loving it. So you had another fan there, buddy.
Too funny. It's just crazy how much variation we'll see in these single batches. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's give this one a nose. We always like to talk about what you guys are getting on the nose. Then we'll talk about taste. And let's see here. What are we getting on the nose on this one?
Man, I get the nose. I get a lot of that. I get a fair bit of that citrus, but there's quite a bit of oakiness as well, which, I mean, I guess maybe you would say you expect that from a 30-gallon barrel, but I would say even more so than I would have expected even out of a smaller barrel.
Yeah. Orange cream, Herb is saying.
Herb.
I like how you're so big these days. When you're on the news, you don't even care to even look at it anymore. So you didn't even know that was out there with your name, Herb Simmons, on there.
That interview was from like,
I know, but that's
April.
Jeff from Iowa. Yes, he's a super fan, so he finds everything. So
that's hilarious. God, no, I had no clue.
Herb Simmons. You look like a Herb in that video, I must say, too.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
You had a little bit of a mustache going, I noticed.
That was my Herbie look. Not Herbert.
Tony saying a little dry oak, mildly smoky citrus. Frederick, did you get the ultimate VIP for this one too, by the way? Were you the guy who got that?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
What came with that?
Okay.
That would probably be Sean.
I couldn't remember who got that. Somebody got a full-size bottle of each of these, which is pretty cool. I don't remember who that was.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, that's.
I think Sean did.
Sean, I don't think it was Sean. No.
No,
I don't. I did it the hard way.
Yeah, you did it yourself, but it's a little bit easier if you live in St. Louis. So.
Right.
Yeah, that's what Danny was yelling at me. And I'm like, "Danny, you live in St. Louis. You can buy all these." So, But he wanted the ultimate VIP for this one. We only had one. I only had one extra. Mm-hmm. Anything else on the taste on this one?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. You were going to say something, Adam?
Yeah, I'm looking at my lineup here, and I've got I'm missing that hole. So whoever got the ultimate VIP has got a bottle up on me for sure. I could not find that sample, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, I brought you the sample. You always, anytime I give you samples, I notice you open up and drink it right away. And then you probably have, that was a long time ago. So this one has been on the books for a long time. So
it has been. Oh,
I'm telling you, I brought you that. But so which one? You're missing the cherry Coke one, right?
I am. I've got a sister barrel, but I know it's different.
Right.
I can be there in about 35 minutes.
That's funny.
So,
you're not going to believe this. I bagged all these whiskeys up, getting ready to leave the distillery. And what did I do? I left them on the damn counter. So I'm shoveling down Thai food here at the house because I had to go get the carryout order.
Oh, the mansion, you mean?
Yeah, the mansion, right. So I'm shuffling down food and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot this whiskey. So Steve, the reason I was 2 minutes late is my amazing wife stopped eating dinner, ran up to the distillery while I'm shoveling food down to grab
Really?
the whiskey and
Laura
come
did
back
this,
home.
huh?
She's amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing. Yeah. 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 You got a good one there. So the best. Adam one time got suspended from our network because he drank too much on a show.
Yeah, and then you post a fucking GIF about it. Jackass.
All right.
Steve.
What do you guys think? This is just everyday Stumpy's Old Monroe bourbon. Again, approximate cost on this at that time, Adam. I think you got some things changed. It was about $30, right? I mean,
$32.99. Yes, sir.
$32.99 was the going rate for that.
Yep.
So hard to beat that for a craft bourbon. But you do have some things that are changing now. So if you don't mind, I think now's a good time to talk. Since we're trying just your regular, what was to be a regular Stumpy's Old Monroe offering. As the company grows, things are changing a little bit. So moving forward, it's going to be a little bit different than it has been up to this point, correct?
Yes, things are different and prices are changing. Some of that is just as we grow as a company, trying to figure that out. Some of that is COVID related, uh, just a lot of different things, but I think it's all for the better. So when I say COVID related, nothing negative whatsoever. What we are seeing is a lot of consumers just across beverage alcohol in general tending to switch to either brands that they know or brands that are a little bit cheaper. So, just a lot of reports early on said, spirits are on fire and they're just going crazy and all this stuff. The latest reports coming out are that spirits are actually down 4% and all this stuff. And what they're seeing is a lot of consumer buying trends that are shifting back to all these brands that they know and cheaper brands. So we're obviously not either of those. So we're trying to figure out how to better position ourselves. And we decided that for basically the entire portfolio, other than everything that is brown, basically, we're going to lower our price. So we're going to run thinner on everything. So like our vodkas, the flavored whiskeys, the gin, all that stuff now is $18.99 on most store shelves. Illinois pricing has not changed. This is just Missouri. And the other thing is that we're to the point in our bourbon inventory where I felt like we were starting to get caught up, but then as we start to plan future releases, we're still quite a ways behind. And what we decided to do with the bourbon is to move it up to $38.99 on the store shelf. And that is, in part because we're definitely getting into, my opinion, higher quality juice. We're getting into older stuff and, things that are well worth that price in my mind. The really cool thing is that we're kind of changing up our labels a bit. So what we tried tonight was the single barrel select. If you go out in stores pretty soon, I mean now even, and you take a look at the shelf, you're going to notice a very similar label, but slight differences. So instead of saying single barrel select, it's going to say small batch select. But here's the goofy thing, and I know this doesn't sound like it makes a whole lot of sense off the bat. We're running a small batch program that, in my opinion, can make a more complicated product than a single barrel potentially. And we are being super transparent about the process of making that small batch. And when I say small batch, I'm not talking like 1792 small batch where it's 200 barrels in a batch. The back of our label says we're putting 5 barrels maximum in a batch. So we're to that cool spot in our inventory where I've got all these crazy ideas that we had and we turned into mashes and turned into whiskey. These are starting to come of age. And I really don't have a route to market for a 100% Bloody Butcher bourbon versus, a lot of these other things. I don't want to make a bunch of different labels and overwhelm my distributors and all this stuff. So we're like, well, we could start to make these really, really cool blends and put together a super complicated product, a super complex product. Well, the cool thing is you can go to our website now and there's a new link called Barrel and Batch Tracker. you can click on that and you can see the stats of that particular batch. So like this most recent one we did is batch 20K1. So we named the batches the same way that they number barrels in Kentucky, right? So 20 is the year 2020. K is the 11th letter of the alphabet. So it's November. And number 1 is the batch number of that. So it is November 2020, batch 1. So we did not do a batch 2 in November. So the next one you see HIJKL. So the next one will probably be 20L1. That'll be the next batch out there. And it's going to be different. So I don't even have the batch tracker up, but I remember 20K1 was Bloody Butcher bourbon blended with a regular bourbon that was a yellow corn, rye, and malt. So super cool, super transparent. We've got the amount of barrels that are in the batch, the minimum age, the maximum age, the mash bill, all that fun stuff that you could really ever care about on that stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And you're looking for tasters now, correct?
Always looking for tasters.
Count me in, man. Count me
so
in.
We've also got a couple of other really cool projects we're working on while we're on Old Monroe and the portfolio in general. We're trying to figure out how that portfolio is going to look over the course of time. Tonight, we've got 3 Distiller Selects. Those are the next 3 we're going to be tasting, and Distiller Select is going to remain part of the portfolio. That's a way for us to get into some of those single barrels, and we can be really flexible with what we put on that label, whether it's the style of whiskey, whether it's the proof. So it allows maybe a retail account like Dean's, if Ryan wanted a little extra water in there to knock some of the alcohol off, we could do that at 105 proof next time instead of 118. So it just allows us a lot of flexibility. So Distiller Select's always going to be there. Once we get enough inventory, the single barrel will make its way back eventually. We've always got the single barrels there. So I think it makes sense to have that product back in place once we get to that point in our inventory. The one I'm super excited about is the throwback. So some of you guys know about this. We have a bottle of Old Monroe that was distilled in 1948 and bottled in 1953. Sent it down to our friends at Independent Stave. They did a scientific analysis on it and were able to tell us specifically what kind of chemical compounds make up that bourbon. And from those chemical compounds, we were able to figure out an approximate mash bill. Most importantly, we're able to figure out how the barrel was manufactured and what kind of barrel they were using. So the really cool thing is that, like, nowadays the staves are bent over steam, if that makes sense. You use the steam to hydrate the wood and get that curvature to the stave. There was such a high vanillin content in the original Old Monroe that they were able to tell that those staves were fire bent. So basically you kind of have this toasting process happening as they're making the barrels. So Independent Stave was able to make us a custom toast and char profile that completely mimics the barrel extracts from the original Old Monroe. So absolutely amazing. And not to mention, we were able to go to the old distillery that's still standing in Columbia. We captured yeast from a couple different areas in the distillery, and we have been able to isolate those yeasts so far. So we've got the yeast ready for that program as well. So getting close on there, but here's the thing. That whiskey was age stated at 5 years. So from the minute we press the go button, we still have to sit and wait, unfortunately.
Yeah. So question, hoodie prices aren't changing. This has nothing to do with that. Hot chocolate balls. Is that something you guys have? Hot chocolate balls? I don't know anything about
Oh my
that.
God. Guess what the #1 selling item was this weekend? It was hot chocolate balls.
Really?
It's freaking crazy. Yeah. So
What is
you
that?
guys probably know Gammon Whiskey House. They're no longer in business, unfortunately, but Derek's wife, Amy, makes these amazing hot chocolate bombs. They are really good. Makes like the best hot chocolate, but it's like this giant chocolate sphere that you put in a mug and dump hot milk over.
Oh,
And
does it have marshmallows inside of it or something?
like
Yeah.
literally
Okay. I've seen those.
loads of marshmallows. It's cool.
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that does look cool. So yeah. Very nice. Let's go ahead and pour the next one. We're going to talk about it for a second here, of course, but this is the Stumpy's Bananas Foster. So
It's the ABV Bananas Foster.
it is. It is. So this is a pick that we did with my company. How this all came about was we had a birthday party. This is back when life was normal, February of 2020. We had a birthday party for me at Stumpy Spirits. A lot of people came there and we got to try a lot of different stuff. We fell in love with one of the barrels there. And we wanted to buy it. Adam said he couldn't sell it. And then, so we went above his head. We went to his wife and she said, yes, sell him a barrel. So we were on track to buy the barrel. Then I went over there. The Neelys came into town. So if you know Royce and Becca Neely, they came into town and did a little tour. Becca wanted to see the place and all that. So we started got the drill out and just started trying barrels. And we tried this one barrel. And instantly I said, this thing tastes like Bananas Foster. And we then pivoted, and that's the barrel that we wanted. We had to have that barrel because it was so unique and so different. And Adam said, okay, don't worry, I'll hold on to the other one for you. And you can buy this one, and then you can buy that next one when you're ready. And so I bought the Bananas Foster. And then like a month later, I went in there and he's like, oh, I sold that other barrel, by the way. So a big retailer came in and I sold your other barrel on you.
Okay, Steve. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Tell me what's false about that story.
I don't ever recall committing to holding the second barrel.
I guess I got to start getting things in writing with Adam. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Have your lawyer draft a note next time.
Yes. Yeah, my lawyer. Yes, Leo, my cat is my lawyer. So. All
He was
right.
trying to get your recorded confession.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. This is being recorded, Adam. So.
Uh-huh.
So tell us a little bit about this one that we're going to try in just a second here. The one I called Bananas Foster. Well, there's nothing in here. There's no flavoring. Again, we're not talking about a flavored whiskey or anything like this, folks. This is just what it tastes like in the barrel. So Adam, tell us a little bit about this one and what some differences are.
There's a lot of firsts here. So it is number one, the first barrel that we ever dumped off of the column still. And to this point, the only barrel we've dumped off the column still. It is the first and only batch of high rye white corn bourbon that we made. And it is in super high end barrels. So the mash bill on this one was 51% white corn, so barely bourbon, 40% rye, and 9% malted barley. So certainly an unconventional and very expensive mash bill. But we had this thought that the sweetness from the white corn would play really nice with a heavy dose of rye. And it was an experiment, quite honestly. So this was this is the third batch that we ever ran off of that column. So yeah, super, super pleased with the way it turned out, and there will never be another one of these for sure.
Yeah. And just to clarify, Matt asked, why no more column still, but you're saying this is literally the first whiskey that you sold that was barreled and aged off the column still. So yes, you moved from their pot still, which is what you started with, to the column still, which is more of a kind of a hybrid coffee still is what we like to call it, because it's a column / pot still type of thing. But now you're going to be moving third generation just to a column still at some point. Correct?
Yes.
On the road, you're thinking down the road, you're projecting as you project growth. You're not there yet, but as you project growth at some point, that's what you'll be moving to.
Yep, that's correct. Well, so I shouldn't even say anything. I'm gonna give you guys some inside baseball. So this still, Steve, I think. Well, you were in on that message. So we're going to be getting rid of this still in the not so distant future and building a bigger version of it. Super cool thing. So we were setting out to get all the materials on site and start building our own. And then we came across an opportunity that we couldn't turn down. There is an entire distillery lot over in Europe. It's equipment from the 20s and 30s, it appears to be. Basically everything that we need to make a bigger version of this still in all vintage copper. So we are starting to move down that path. But very much, this batch here is basically the thing that it was almost validation. I feel like that was hey, the concept of this still makes sense. We're able to be super selective with cuts, we're able to, drive a lot of character at higher proof alcohol and we're able to do it in a continuous fashion. So, Steve, this was a big one for me. This is definitely one of my favorite bottles to date.
Yes, yeah. Had the old cool Bananas Foster sticker on there with the ABV Network logo. Very nice. Let's give this one. Let's pick this one up and nose this one and let me know what you think. Butterscotch, butter rum candy on the nose. Yeah. Tastes like or smells like those old Lifesaver butter rum is exactly what it smells like. Which again, that's butter and rum are definitely a big part of Bananas Foster, which you'll pick up in just a second as you taste it. I believe. We had one lady in our club say it only tasted like corn to her. It didn't taste like anything else, which I don't understand.
Worst bourbon she's ever had in her life.
Yeah. She came around later. She said the little air time helped it. So she would come back around. Melted Werther's Originals, sure. And on the taste.
I just can't believe how much flavor it has for how young it is.
Yes. I mean, I agree.
I mean, I didn't want to sell this barrel just because of the number on the age statement, but the flavor's crazy.
Yeah, it is. What are you guys getting on the taste on this one? This one comes in at 112 proof. And what is the age statement here, Adam?
15 and a half months.
15 and a half months. How about that?
Not even 2 years.
No.
Couldn't even put the word straight on the label.
No.
Better word. It says barrel proof.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. Caramel, butterscotch, banana.
We had a big box. We had
Named perfectly.
words in there. Yeah, the banana, like the banana that I get is. Do you guys remember the little Tootsie Rolls that they throw out of parades, like the little fruit ones, the little fruit
Yeah.
cheese? The banana one of those. That's what this smells
Yeah, it's definitely more of like a dried banana than like a fresh banana. You don't get any like fruity ripeness. It's more of like a sweet with like a subtle tone.
Yeah, it's like those freeze-dried ones, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, those freeze-dried candies. Yeah, those
Yep.
candy bananas. Yeah, it really tastes amazing. I gotta say, this is so good.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a whiskey 15 months old. I would challenge you to go to Jim Beam or Buffalo Trace or whatever your favorite distillery is,
It's
Heaven
got
Hill,
a
and try
nice
their
bite to it.
15-month-old bourbon and see what you think of that.
And it's got a nice bite to it. It's not like, it's
Yeah.
not weak either. It's, it's
Right.
nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say when I first tried this months and months ago, I bought one bottle. I bought 6 more after that. I had never bought 7 bottles of anything
He did.
other than this one.
Bold
Funny.
strategy, Cotton.
And he lives
It's
in
gonna pay
Louisiana,
off.
so we had to work out a whole thing. He literally had to pay for it and then not get it for months because I was like, we're not going to ship that, a case of bourbon down. So he had to wait for Corey Welch to come to Kentucky. So he was very patient, man. Like he never bothered me or anything. It was great. I thought sure enough he's going to be like, when am I going to get this? When am I going to? Because I knew I told him up front it's going to be just the way his schedule was working out. It's going to be a couple months, and he was fine. He got it, and then eventually got it down to you. So
Yep, willing to wait, and I was actually willing to drive to St. Louis to get it if I had to.
You could have thrown it on a flatboat and shipped it down the river like they did back in the day.
back in the day, yeah, yeah. So Danny is not with us tonight. I don't know why he's not on here. I thought he signed up for this one, and it's not snowing or anything, so you would think he'd be here.
Steve, you remember I was up in Kansas when this came out,
Oh yeah, that's right.
and everybody was talking about. And I had bought a couple bottles, but they were in St. Louis, and I'm in Dodge City, and they keep talking about it on these events, and I'm like, okay, guys, this isn't fair. I own some of them, but I can't try it,
Right.
So on one of the events, Steve stuck a little sample bottle in for me so I could actually try it while I was in Dodge City.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I said, if I didn't know better, I said I'd swear that Adam was in the back with a syringe injecting some stuff because first time I smelled it, I'm like, man, that smells like Laffy Taffy. It's like,
I know. To me, this tastes like I'm down in New Orleans. It tastes like the sauce
man,
that's
I
on
cannot
Bananas
believe
Foster.
this is only 15 and a half months old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The other crazy thing is that we ran the still with cooler temperatures on this one to try to pull some of the fruity notes out and get rid of some of the oilier notes. And I think that comes through on the like the finish for sure. Like it's got that really kind of quick, snappy finish. It's not real viscous, doesn't hang around. So we knocked a lot of those tails out. But what we were doing is we were trying to shave the distillation profile closer to the lower boiling things and try to keep a lot of those isoamyl alcohols in there, which is that banana note. So I mean, that banana note was evident. I mean, the first day of fermentation, like we walked in the distillery, right? And this is the day after we'd made this mash for the first time ever. And we're like, what does this smell? Like I've never smelled this before in here. So really pumped that it came through in the final product.
Yes, yes. And you do have 9 more barrels that were made, again, sister barrels that are made at the same time. You don't again know what they're going to if they taste like this or not. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't remember how many more there are.
I thought at one point there was 10, but I don't know.
Something around there.
Yeah.
I would think at some point the oak starts to overpower some of that banana, right?
That was my worry. Adam kept saying Adam did not want to sell it because of the youth of the bourbon. So he did not want to sell it. He did not want me to buy that barrel. But I was worried that over time, the changes couldn't necessarily enhance it, make it bigger and bolder. It could do the reverse of that. It could start tasting more like a traditional bourbon, more oak flavors and things like that. So that's what I was worried about. That's why I wanted this where it's at right now. And yeah, I'm glad we did that. So
yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Adam. I'm older than my fiance. Age does not necessarily mean quality.
True. I will. Same boat here. Absolutely.
Yeah. As they say, this is Dallas Cowboys in a bottle. Again, I don't know. I saw some of that chat.
Disappointing you by December?
I don't know what that.
You don't want to reference that this season.
I don't know what that means even. It turns out Danny doesn't even like the Cowboys, but he said that in the middle of a text thing. So I don't know. I don't know what he meant by it.
I'm pretty sure it means it's really good, but it doesn't last long.
I don't know.
Well, you can't say Dallas Cowboys are really good, though.
They have been. They just always fall apart in the end.
You can say they have the potential to be good.
Yeah, like in the 90s, they were good, but really not since then, to be honest. So I don't know. That's Danny's Drunken Text. So if you haven't heard that episode, that came out Sunday, guys.
It's hilarious.
Check out the Bourbon Daily, Danny's Drunken Text. All right. Well, Adam, that's going to be hard to top. We're going to see if you can do it, though. Why don't we go ahead and pour the Cherry Coke, the one that I call Cherry Coke. That's not its official name, but that's what I call it, Cherry Coke. So, Adam, you can tell us the story of that one and what
so
that is.
This one was, so I guess for those of you that shop on the Illinois side, Total Wine obviously has an amazing selection, but if you're looking for a super small store, there it is. Dean's Liquor up in Collinsville is just absolutely incredible. Ryan and Jerry that run the store are fantastic, and they really, really care about their selection. Back in 2016, I want to say, we were up in Chicago at the Indie Spirits Expo. This event where there's all these craft distillers doing these tastings, and it's buyers walking through. And the only face that I knew was Ryan. So, I mean, Ryan cared enough to drive to Chicago to taste through spirits that he could potentially get that other people wouldn't have. So he does a really, really nice job down there. But anyway, Ryan had expressed interest in doing a single barrel. And at that point in time, we're running tight on bourbon. But I did have a couple of rye barrels. So this is when COVID really kind of was getting hot and heavy, I guess I'd say. So instead of Ryan coming down to the distillery, what we did was we sent a sample kit along with Emily to Dean's. Emily's our sales rep. And we pulled 3 different barrels of rye, and we had 3 different proofs. So each barrel that Ryan tasted was barrel proof, there was a 105 proof, and there was a 100 proof. And the sucker cheated on me. He looked at the bottles instead of doing it blind. So he knew he was getting a barrel proof one out of the gate. So that he knew what he wanted though, but he picked a darn good one. So I remember whenever we were choosing the barrels to pull, that particular barrel stood out. It was actually the first one that I went and pulled. And the reason was because the, like the head of the barrel it was just coated with distiller's candy. I mean, it had this huge, just dark brown caramelized streak down it, probably 6,
Yes.
8 inches wide. So we're like,
I'm
man,
always drawn to those barrels. So the worse they look, the more I'm interested in them.
oh yeah. I mean, that means that, right, all that whiskey's left the barrels. So number one, it's going to be low yield, but number two, the liquid that is left in there, if there's any left,
Mhm.
it's going to have that super concentrated character. And he picked that one out of the lot. There was one that was just an absolute turd in there.
You're trying to upsell that one?
Yeah,
This was good. Mm.
just throw that in there. And then there was another one that was, it was really good. It kind of fit the standard rye profile. I'd say it was much more on that big spicy side. This one was just, it was amazing how much fruit came through. Hence the name you gave it, Steve.
Mhm.
And we've seen that with some of our ryes, depending on the year that the rye's harvested. Honestly, it's almost like a vintage. We've noticed some years you get that nice fruity character. Evan, I think the Total Wine Barrel, the 100.3 proof that you mentioned too, had a really nice amount of that fruit in there as well. So yeah, that's a story on this one.
Comes in
Not
at 118 proof.
Yep, 118. Not a complicated mash bill. It was 100% rye. So even though it's a single grain, there's a lot going on in there, and it is a bugger to make in the distillery. Rye is sticky, it's gooey, it's foamy, it's all those things that you don't want whenever you make mash.
Any insight on the name that Ryan gave this? Is it just because it's a playoff of rye? He just like is there any?
Yeah, 2020's bumpy ride. That is
It smells straight up like cherry coke. Like,
Yeah. I'm not kidding you. That's what initially I was like, how is this one not called cherry coke? Yeah.
If I had this in my glass, like I'd be like, hey, I gotta put this up on the shelf.
Yeah.
Kids are gonna grab this.
Yeah. And then
it's delicious.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I mean, this is definitely packing the punch, and heat wise, it carries. I love it.
So the interesting thing with this one, I thought it actually drank a little better at 105, and I almost always pick the higher proof. But I completely understand why Ryan wanted the barrel proof, because at that point you have the option to put an ice cube or a drop of water or something in there. But this one, I think with just a couple drops of water or a single ice cube helps. It knocks down some of that bite, but you still get a lot of flavor that comes through. So there's a lot of flavor in this one for sure.
Right.
Yeah, like I almost get like a root, like like a root beer or like birch, like kind of like start to it, and then definitely cherry. But I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, I definitely, the name is perfect. So.
Yeah. This is what I grew up on in college. I didn't drink beer. I drank even Coke, and this just tastes like an old, bourbon and Coke to me. Cherry Coke, delicious. It's when I was living high on the hog with the cherry Coke. So
I gave Steve a hard time one time. I was like, but it doesn't taste like Coke. It tastes more like a generic knockoff cola.
like we got to get that specific. Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of is those Harborough Coca-Cola candies. With a bite, or like, if you ever soak those in whiskey at a party, just saying.
Yeah.
It's delicious though. Perfect flavors.
Tony's saying more like root beer, which plays well off of what Frederick was saying with the birch. I think it's in there too, so makes sense. But yeah, definitely as flavorful as can be. I mean, just I put this against anybody's stuff. I mean, in reality. And this one is 30 and a half months. I don't know if you said that or not, but
No, I did not.
30 and a half months.
I don't have the back of the bottle to look at on that one. Hey, what's it say on a barrel char?
Barrel char. Let's see here. M4.
So that's interesting. So that was a medium toast with a number 4 char, and most people who are going to put a number 4 char in a barrel don't bother toasting it. But every barrel that we buy has a toast on it. So yeah, we don't do a whole lot of number 4s, but that one put out a really good one for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that is unique that you do a 4 there. So typically that's going to be for the really well-aged stuff. There's
Mhm.
those higher chars. So interesting. It all came together and works well for sure. So is this finally sold out? I thought it was all sold out, and then I guess they found some more cases and they had some more out. Is this gone now, or is this still
I don't know if
available?
he still had some as of a couple of weeks ago. I haven't talked to him since,
Okay.
so can't give you a final count there.
Okay.
Yeah, they put a large selection out, and then from what I understand, basically after like 2 weeks, that initial selection was gone, and then I guess he waited a couple weeks, then put out some more.
Okay. See, that's why I thought it was gone. I went in there one time, there wasn't any left, so I figured, it's just gone.
Stretching the stock.
But
I think I think he did a post. I feel like I saw it right before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
He did a post, and I feel like it was in that post.
yeah,
I think he still got a few of them. I think so.
still got a few. So opportunity to get those if you're so inclined, folks. So really good stuff for sure. Everybody like this one? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, I agree with Tony. Put that it has like a oak or smoky. Yeah, definitely some wood as well, though, for sure.
Cherry pop, sure. The old pop versus soda, cola, all that stuff. All right, let's go ahead and pour our last one here, Stumpy's Pre-Prohibition Rye. This one to me, I mean, I've been a fan of Adam Stumpf since the day I walked in there, before I ever even knew him. I mean, I went into the distillery a couple times without knowing who he was. We've gotten to be friends, and I know what he's doing special there. But when he had me taste this rye, this is the best tasting rye that I've ever had. It's unbelievable. So flavor complex. It's different than anything that I've ever found on the market. And I think it has the potential to be the biggest thing that he does. I mean, it's amazing. So tell us a little bit about this one, Adam. I know this is a historical recipe that you found. You're playing around with it, and now we're in the process of waiting for some of the stuff to age out so we can get some more of it. But tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we made 2 barrels of it, and then basically waited 2 years and said, "Oh shit, this is really good. We need to make more of this." So then we made a bunch more of it. So we're still really 2 years out on getting any of this out, but this is the second rye whiskey recipe we made. We started with like 3 or 4 we were tinkering around with, and actually in our system this is still labeled rye 2. So this recipe came out of an old manuscript that was published in 1911, that was later plagiarized by someone in 1937, but neither here nor there. But we found the recipe, and like when we were reading it, it's like, well, that's pretty unique. I don't think I've seen anything like that. So that's kind of what drew us to it. The mash bill on it is 72% cereal rye, 25% malted rye, and 3% malted barley. So it's got that heavy dose of malted rye in there. And in my opinion, that is probably one of the biggest drivers of the flavor. And number 2 is that variety of rye that we grow. We import it from Germany, and you get that nice balance of sweet and spicy in there. This one, let's see, we did with our 01 yeast strain, which is a bit on the fruitier side. We entered it at 120 proof, and this one is only 27 months old. So, probably on the younger side of where we'll be releasing this in the future. But it was too damn good to not put in a bottle. So
Yes.
we lost 4/10 of a proof point, so it rang in at 119.6 at bottling.
Yeah. So, and have you been trying what you've laid down since then? And does, from memory comparison, is it tasting along the same lines of comparable age frame, or I just want to make sure I'm going to be able to buy this again in the future?
Yeah, it's pretty darn similar.
Okay.
And I think it might even have a little more going on. We tried to push the distillation profile on this one a little farther to the higher boiling alcohols to get a little more mouthfeel out of it. So flavor though, it's pretty darn good. It's right in the ballpark.
Yeah. Yeah. Justine and I bought as much of this as we could afford to buy. So we have a little bit of stock, right? Justine, you've still got some of this here, unless you drank through it. So yeah. It was a favorite of ours, right? I mean, she came down and we bought some, and then she'd call me and say, "Hey, can you get me some more?" And then she called me on the last day it was available, and we went in and bought out what he had. So yeah.
And
I'm
like
pretty
18
sure this
hoodies
is
probably.
the one. I think this is the one that Adam gave me after Whiskey in the Winter too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So on the nose, what are you guys thinking? I mean, gosh, you even get
I get those Herb Simmons notes.
Herb Simmons notes. Sure, sure. There's even like lemon honey in there. I can get a little bit of. That's crazy.
Yeah, I definitely get honey. Maybe like some like cinnamon, like
Yeah.
your star anise or something like that.
Yeah.
I was thinking honey and floral, so I guess honeysuckle.
Honeysuckle. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did an event just with this one time. And Adam, we've never had this whole screen was filled with notes and things like that. It was, unbelievable what you get in this one. It's like nothing else I've ever had. So
Yeah, no, it's
Sweet Angels, floral, pine tree, even. All right, let's taste this one, man. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. I mean, it's you just name a flavor note and it's in there, I think, with this one. I don't think you can
I
go wrong.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. It builds and it keeps building, and
There's baked goods. There's kind of a little bit of a sour. Then there's very sweet at one point. It's just layers of flavor. I mean, right in the middle, it gets so sweet. It's unbelievable. And then there's the spiciness of the rye at the end.
I think a lot of
It
those
somehow does it all.
Mm-hmm.
you get a lot of those baked goods are from that malted rye.
Okay.
I think a lot of that cinnamon comes from that, a lot of the baked notes, and even maybe the honey. I think that malted rye plays a big role in that.
Yeah.
What'd you do on these barrels for these ones? Because you had you said you had 2 barrels of it, right? You had the stubborn German pick version of it, and then it was basically the
Wine.
same one, right?
Yep. Total Wine.
Total Wine was the other one. There's no char on this one on the back of the bottle, so I don't know if you remember that or
The
anything.
stamp must have been fucked up.
Yeah, there's nothing listed, at least on mine. I don't know.
No, mine's got like the same like dot there.
Yeah, it's got a dot. I don't.
Hold on. I'll pull it up.
Okay.
That's the secret of the recipe. He found this old manuscript in a bottle that was floating down the Mississippi River, and he pulled it out and it said,
Yeah.
"Don't tell anyone what you do."
That's the
with
secret
barrel."
sauce. The char is the secret sauce on this one, so that's why he's not going to tell. Just
No, I'm gonna give it to you right now. I feel like it was lower.
yes, Tim, he is. His name's Steve Akley, by the way. So yeah, thank you. I think Adam needs someone in there tasting barrels every day and then helping name these things. Yeah.
Here we go. It was an independent stave Cooper Select. It was a medium plus toast. So Cooper Select means it was air dried for 18 months.
That's good.
It was medium plus toast with a number 2 char.
Number 2 char.
And so the successor to these, you've already laid down those barrels, right?
Yep. We've laid down the first part of this year's production, and then I think we're going to rob some of the rye from bourbon production and make a second round of rye with this year's rye crop. So,
Yeah. When I hear some of these whiskeys, that win best whiskey in the world, I want to put them up against this. You're telling me you got the best whiskey in the world, that one that's out of Texas, I forget what it is. Let's put it up against this. It's not saying it's best bourbon, best whiskey in the world. Let's put it up against this one and see what we think. Blind taste test. And maybe we could even do that. That would be kind of fun. Put this one up against the best whiskeys in the world in a blind taste test. All these ones that win these stupid awards. I hate all those awards, but they're
That's
all
why I
available.
don't enter any of those competitions. I'm like, I'm
Hey,
not
we
paying
proved that we're
$500
pretty good
for
at
a
blind
medal.
tasting, though.
What's that?
I said we proved that we're pretty good at blind tasting.
Oh yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly. So, yeah, we did the bottom shelf blind tasting. That was amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we literally ranked the bottom shelves, and then we had them ranked through the first round. But then we threw all those out because you had to do qualifiers. So it was like the top 3 made it, and then the of the first event, then the top 3 of the second event, and of course, but they're all ranked because we had the scores from those, and then we scored them in the second round, in the last round, the final round, and they all ended up in the exact same order. Nothing changed. The one that was ranked 6th down to number 1, nothing changed, even though we had them competing against one another. That's exactly how they were going into the final round. It was wild. Wild stuff. Oh, Iron Root. Yes, that's it. That's what I was trying to think of. Iron Root Harbinger. I want to put that up against this for the best whiskey in the world title. I think I'm going to do that because I think I've got an extra bottle of this I can allocate, and there's a couple other ones that have this title of best whiskey in the world. We're gonna do that'll be an upcoming event. I'm going to gather the best whiskeys in the world, and we're going to put this against that blind taste test, and whoever wins wins.
I think I have some bottles of this, Steve, if you need
Oh,
one.
do you? Okay. Yeah, that'd be good. So I can get the Iron Root Harbinger. I'll have to see what won in San Francisco last year.
Now, should it compete against Rise, or is it competing against everything?
It's best whiskey in the world. All it is whiskey.
So
So that's what. Yeah, it elevates up. It can be Rise. It can be bourbons. It can be even scotches are in that competition. It can be anything. But I'm going to try to find the ones that have the current titles of best whiskey in the world. Buy them, and then we'll compete it against this, and we'll see what happens.
That's an event. You want
That
to
is
be
an
on that
event.
tasting
That's an
panel.
event.
Yeah.
We'll get one of those old WWE title belts. We'll send it to whoever wins. Whoever, Adam, we're hoping on you, but whoever wins is going to get the title belt.
Tony, that's a terrible idea. That's the worst idea I've seen all night.
2 bottles per judge.
Have that 50 mils.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you made the mistake of not saying what size. So yeah, you're being generous, giving them 50 mils. So yeah.
And so this was the last one of our night, right? But
Mhm.
I mean, all of Adam's single barrels have been fantastic, though. Like, while some of the 90 proofers can be hit and miss, man, if you get a store pick, they're all crazy good. Like I've already, even ones we haven't tasted here. I mean, you've had the Total Wine one at 100.3. That was 100 proof rye. So you said before, was that the same batch as the Dean's pick?
Not,
No, that was not.
It was not the same.
The
Okay.
Stubborn German pick is what it was the same as, right?
No, because the Total Wine one was 100% rye.
Oh, okay.
Where's the other one?
So 100% rye. That's the same as Dean's. It's the same mash,
recipe,
but maybe.
different fats.
Okay. And then I mean, you've got the Total Wine bourbon one. I think was like a 116. Proof.
116. Yep.
Also excellent. Like you cannot miss with the Distiller Select store picks. They are so good. Like
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So
we
Adam,
need to make a follow-on event of all the ones that didn't make this one because they're just as good.
Mhm. So Adam, is Wine and Cheese Place? Do they still ship for you? So
You know, I don't know if they do or not. I know
that was a place where people could buy it before who didn't
Right.
live in the kind of St. Louis metro area.
it's crazy because of like ebbs and flows. That's the problem that we've been having with our bourbon is if our distributor runs out of stock and we go empty on a shelf, somebody like Wine and Cheese will say, hell, why do I even have this if I can't continue to get it? So I haven't checked Wine and Cheese's website lately, but Total generally has it to ship. Randall's,
We'll have
wine-
Evan check that. Evan's good at quickly check. See if Wine and Cheese Place has that available on. So again, if somebody wants to order it that doesn't live in this area, in the past that's been an option, but we'll see. You got a question here from Matt. Wants you to talk a little bit about the one that's at Schnucks right now. The what's it called? The wheat and tarnation.
Wheat and tarnation, yeah. So that's the barrel, Steve.
Yeah, that's my barrel. So yes, yeah, get out there and enjoy that. That's the my birthday barrel. That's Steve's
the one
birthday
That one's
barrel.
good.
Down.
One's good.
Yeah,
I've tasted
Steve's birthday barrel is so it should be known. I'm going to be in the Schnucks tomorrow, crossing out the name and writing Steve's birthday barrel on there.
Steve, that's like your backwash. That's a barrel you didn't want.
No, I wanted it. I had a deal worked out to get it later at a later date.
I was very excited about that barrel.
You can still
I've
be
been
excited
just-
about
This.
that.
I love to give Adam trouble about this. If I was in his shoes, I'd do the same thing. Money talks. So yeah, I'll save it for you, Akley, until someone floats the cash right in front of me. Then yes, then I'm not saving it for you anymore. So I'm not blaming Adam. I'm not mad at all about that.
ABV needs to start doing a pre-order system so we can buy them up front then.
Yeah, that's just business. That's business. So no problem. We're good.
No, so the wheat and tarnation barrel is the last barrel of the original wheated recipe that we had. So the original wheated recipe was 60-30-10, 60% corn, 30% wheat, 10% malt. And it was in a 30-gallon barrel for 3 years, and it rang in as the highest proof release we've ever done. It came in at 123 proof, and it does not drink like it. And you get hammered very quickly because you don't realize you're drinking 123 proof on that barrel.
Yeah. So for us, there are quite a few that live in St. Louis here. Where can we find it? Schnucks Telegraph? Is that?
Hold on, I'll pull up the list.
Or they should get some. I mean, they're right across the river from you, brother.
I should, but I don't get to make those decisions.
Yeah. It's not the world's
You
best
didn't,
store. It's
you
not
didn't
the
have
world's best
Telegraph
store,
on the
by
list
way.
you gave me, Adam.
It's not the world's best store. Though I used to work there. Back in the day, we were killing it, but as soon as I
Evan,
left, it went downhill.
I don't have.
Yeah, I've got the list. You sent it to me
It's
last
got
night.
the list.
I'm looking for
Well,
it.
Adam provided it, so he did all the heavy lifting. I was just like, hey, could you send me the info?
Hold on.
So DePere has the most stock. Arsenal, Downtown Culinaria, Hampton Village, Lindenwood, and then if you're out in Columbia, Missouri, the Eat Well Schnucks and they're, I guess,
Let's
the
go to
main Columbia
DePere.
store.
DePere's got everything.
Oh,
So.
And then there's
Hey,
also, and these are
DePere's
cases,
huge.
right? Adam, these are
they're-
case numbers.
Yeah.
And then Cape Girardeau's also got one case.
Yeah.
Tomorrow on the way home from work, I'll be passing the pair.
I don't
They have
think
6
you'll be passing
cases.
it. I think you're going to be stomping at DePere. If I know the legend, he's not going to be passing DePere at all. He'll be stomping. I'm going to go
Yeah.
there tomorrow.
Well, yeah, you know,
I got to go
My-
get a
my
bottle
point
for
is-
myself and Kevin Rose.
I could stop there and, you know, so.
I'm going to go there tomorrow because I already got an order in via text from someone on this call. So I have to go get one for myself and one for someone on the call.
I'll just have to call up there and say, "Look,
Justine.
guys, put all this stuff in a shopping cart. You can't, don't let them out the door."
Yeah, it's now all available through Rick Brenner. So yes, he's,
I'm Kevin Rose's personal Stumpy's purchaser. Like I brought him the 107 or the 174 and one of the
Cherry Cokes.
It was either cherry coke
thought you
or
got
it
him one of
was
those.
the
Yeah.
100 proof
Mhm.
rye.
Yeah.
And then I've got a bottle of something. I think I got another bottle of rye. It's just sitting over here for the last 2 months, waiting to the next time I head towards Kentucky. But yeah, I got to go get the weeded one now.
Text from
Hey,
Dan.
Adam,
Yes, sir.
I want to tell you, last weekend I picked up some of the malt that you finished in the Norton barrel.
Oh, nice.
I picked up 4 bottles of it. It's I think it's fantastic.
Thank you. It made that the way that Norton comes through on the finish, that just like big dry red wine is crazy.
Yeah, I love it. You know, and yeah, 108 proof, and it's 40 months old.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah,
a beautiful red color to it.
It did, we pulled that out and we held it up to the light and we're like, good Lord, like how much
Yeah.
longer did this guy leave in this barrel?
No, it's great. Talk a little bit about the brewery collaboration that you have with Stubborn German.
So we've done a couple brewery collaborations so far.
The latest one.
Yeah, so the latest one, we did one with Hopskeller as well, kind of in the same fashion. So the way this worked with Stubborn German was Chris made his favorite beer, which is Chris is the brewmaster at Stubborn German.
Yeah.
Danny on it. Chris made his Stubborn Fest, which is his year-round Oktoberfest.
Right.
So he made it without hops, and then we put it in a tote, brought it up to the distillery, and we fermented it with whiskey yeast. And then we tossed that in the pot still, ran it off as a single malt whiskey. And out of, let's see, Chris did 3 batches of beer, I think. Out of the 3 batches of beer, we got one 15-gallon barrel of whiskey. So we tossed that whiskey in a used, an ex-bourbon barrel, a 15-gallon barrel for 3 years. And let it do its thing, and it came out really, really nice. And then Stubborn German now has got those, as you know, they're selling those little gift sets with the
I
Stubborn.
bought 2 of them.
That's awesome.
I bought 2 of them, so I got to go down and get them.
It was I think we ended up with like 81 375 milliliter bottles, but there was not a lot of liquid left.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured, I telling Steve, I said, David's done a couple of brewery, collaborations, and you have. I said, and they all turn out good,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
They're really cool. Those unique malt bills that breweries run are sometimes a nice little departure from
I
mainstream.
figure, you take a talented brewer and a talented distiller, and you merge the two. What have you got to lose?
It's true. Any other questions for Adam before we wrap up the official part of the program here? Like I said, I'll stick around if anybody has any questions after this. Okay.
Not a question, but I just wanted to say I took the early distiller select malt out for the Stranahan Snowflake for that, and people were comparing it and saying it was even better than just the straight Stranahan stuff. So cheers to you, Adam.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's really cool.
So Adam, you mentioned earlier, that you're working with some price changes. Any proof or maybe like a bottled and bond changes in the future?
Yeah. There will be, so the 5-year throwback will be 86 proof, just because that's what that one was done at historically. So to be historically accurate, we need to stay there. We'll continue to do barrel proof on the distiller select, so that will kind of ebb and flow a little bit. We will be doing a bottled and bond wheat whiskey next fall. We've got a lot of wheat that is just incredible, and it is pushing that 4-year mark right now. So I've been hanging on to a lot of that stuff to do a 100% wheat whiskey bottled and bond. But then also we will probably do a bottled and bond on the bourbon, probably not the rye, but the bourbon too at some point. It's just a tough balancing act of how long or how old do we let this stuff get versus open another state with younger stuff, and a challenge. We're still trying to figure out what the hell we want to be when we grow up.
When will we get to the point where you have enough inventory where we can do a gift shop barrel picks, like we see like Neely do or Peerless? Because I think you're starting to gain a little bit of a cult-like following. I think people would be into that, these unique one-off, off-profile barrels that are very special that fans can get. So is that in the works? And if so, how much further down the road do we have to wait for this?
Yeah, so we've got probably close to 900 barrels actively aging in inventory right now. So we're getting close to that. The big chunk of aged stuff, I think, will come like next fall. So probably late 2021, we're in that area, hopefully.
Okay.
I hate to, there's a lot of things I could probably pass right now, but I would rather just see them do their thing. I'm an impatient person, so it's kind of strange to hear myself say that. But I feel like a lot of those would benefit from just a little more age. Let them get through one more summer, and get a little hard age on them, and then hop back into a nice gift shop program.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about going to batching. I get that. That's great. But there are the loss of those really unique, cool off-profile barrels that you have to have a program for them too, because when you find those, there's nothing sadder than just dumping that into a batch and making a part of it. I love, putting it out by itself and let it stand on its own. And that's what you're looking for. Just the best of the best for your barrel program.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool.
And 375 milliliter can reduce the risk as a consumer and increase the amount of bottles you have available.
Yeah, we've got some 375s now. Problem with those damn things, they are so hard to package. Like, they don't fit any of our bottling equipment. So we even thought about doing 50 mils, and that was a terrible idea. We had a measuring cup and like funnels, and we're like, forget this noise. But no, Evan, it's a really good point you're bringing up. 375s are a nice way to get some of those really interesting things on the shelves. And when we do move to the gift shop program, like Steve's mentioned, and 375s are definitely going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, cool. Adam, when I bought the Norton finished malt, they're in 375, so I grabbed 4 bottles. They said, 4 bottles? I said, yeah. I said, I wanted 2 bottles, but these are half bottles, so I needed 4 of them to make 2 bottles.
Exactly. Yeah.
They do a nice job.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our official program here. So thanks to Adam Stumpf for joining us. Great job, Mr. Adam Stumpf. Guy's incredible. And I will go ahead and shut off the recorder. And again, I'm going to stick around. Feel free to talk. Adam's got time to stick around. He can. If he has to go, that's okay. But that's it for right now. See you guys.
See ya.